The Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, is reminding members and the public that they no longer need to visit any of its branches to access services. With the introduction of the SNIT virtual branch, members can conveniently access services remotely, anytime and from anywhere using the SNIT app, USSD star 771, star 711 star 9 hash, star 711 star 9 hash, SNIT portal, snit.org.gh. Services available include member registration, benefit processing, updates of personal records, and general inquiries. For seamless access to SNIT's 24-hour virtual services, kindly call SNIT at 0302 611 622 to interact with the team. SNIT always delivers on its promise. If you're looking to expand your business horizons while enjoying a world-class travel experience, here's something to note. The Vanuatu Business and Pleasure Tour 2026 is bringing together business leaders, investors, and professionals for a unique blend of strategic engagement and leisure. Participants will take part in business forums, networking sessions, and investment discussions while also experiencing Vanuatu's rich culture, scenic islands, and tourism attractions. It is business with purpose and pleasure. Registration is currently open for the Vanuatu Business and Pleasure Tour 2026. Think business, think leisure, think Vanuatu. To register, call the Vanuatu Trade Commission Ghana on 0240-229-282 or 0544-626-905. Registration is on first come, first served basis. How do you start your day? Well, if you haven't had your cup of Mixi Choco, you are truly missing out. The rich new taste of Mixi Choco is crafted to brighten your mornings and keep you refreshed all day long. Everything you need is right in there. Just add hot water, stir, and enjoy a warm, comforting cup. Now, for the coffee lovers, Mixi has something special for you too. Mixi Coffee delivers a creamy, smooth coffee experience that keeps you energized for your everyday hustle. Honestly, just one sip and you'll feel it. And guess what? There's more. Introducing the new delicious Mixi Strawberry, a sweet, exciting addition, and one more reason to love Mixi. Start your day the right way. Start it with Mixi. Mixi, trying to hot. All right, time now for us to take a look at some of the headlines making rounds in the newspapers across the country. And let's begin with the Daily Graphic. President commissions LPG vessel in South Korea to boost energy security. Yes, picture of him cutting the sword over there. Ashanti region attracts $3.4 billion in foreign direct investment. Refund fees to disqualified recruitment applicants. Minority urges government. Story there on page 18 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. And move on to the Chronicle, the spear of the nation. Then Trahima fires back. Chiefs raise alarm. Sampa is sitting on a time bomb. And security recruitment. Minority demands refund of 130 million Ghana cedis. Some of the stories there making the headlines on the Chronicle newspaper. To the Daily Guide. Ghana's favorite newspaper, Sampa traditional leaders call for peace amidst chieftaincy dispute. Government and massive security recruitment scam. That's coming from the minority. Tedisa records revenue growth poised for expansion. Story on page 6 there of the Daily Guide newspaper. And moving on to the National Voice. London bombshell. A Blackwest revelation on role in U.S. strike sparks security storm, heightens Ghana's terror profile. Uphold rule of law in chieftaincy disputes, Sampa chiefs to Mahama, and Africa policy lens demands full disclosure from Bank of Ghana over 2025 gold reserve divestment. Story down page 10 of the National Voice of newspaper. Yes, we'll move on. And to the Meridian, Okudzo's London disclosure sparks concerns over Ghana's diplomatic shield. Stories on page 2 and 3 of the Meridian newspaper. And the city in Ketia ask, if 500,000 want to join the police, who would they arrest? Okay, so moving on to the Observer. The Observer Times. Gold reserves controversy. 12 tons of Ghana's gold missing. Who has it? Story there on page 3. Security recruitment role. One story that is one of the leading headlines in most of the newspapers is running through this morning. Minority demands 130 million Ghana cedi refund for failed security applicants. And Cocoa Board releases 4.2 billion Ghana cedis to clear cocoa farmers' arrears. Stories there on the Observer Times newspaper. That headline's still on my mind. If everybody joins the police, who will they arrest? Anyway, those are by way of some of the headlines making rounds in newspapers across the country. To delve more into the issues, Akosia is seated, Thelma is seated. Let's get right to it. We'll be back right after this.
Good morning and welcome to GTV Breakfast. And this is the headline segment today on Friday, as we do most Fridays and every Friday, to be honest. We sit with the ladies to get that female POV on the topical issues that we've witnessed throughout the week. And what an eventful news week it has been, starting off with the celebration of International Women's Day throughout the weekend. Ghana weekend, and it's still Heritage Month, and we love the month of March because it reminds us once again of why we should love our country. And we know that you do love your country, just as sometimes showing it is a bit problematic. So March reminds you, akeshinsani ukai ni small man ni bohu no fe no ni bohu ba nyo fe ni oke pia ni obo oye wo modern wa ni onye ofe. So this is your call once again. Today, speak your own language, okay? So if you're hearing English, it's okay. Feel, we know now we'll have a full breakfast show in Ga. And you can head on to Obonu TV. All their programs are in Ga and Gandangbe languages. And you can also switch to all the other local channels for your authentic Ghanaian content. Welcome to Breakfast on GTV. At the table, Akosia Hansen, media personality, artistic activist, and also a culture curator has joined us at the table. We are expecting Anama to join us very shortly, so you won't be the Lone Ranger for too long. But it's Ghana month, right? And we've come this far. What was the weekend like for you? How are you being authentic or more authentically Ghanaian this month than any other?
First off, Tom, I've missed you. Happy New Year and all of that. Happy birthday, all of that. I've not seen you in years, right?
Another birthday is coming.
Another birthday,
don't worry.
Don't worry. Okay, so I think last weekend was generally spent deep in reflection. I wasn't too well, but then Saturday, Sunday was, I mean, you've highlighted it all. The month of March is so special for us because, one, it is Ghana month. We celebrate our independence then. It also ties into International Women's Day, and for us, for me, I stretch it to the whole month, International Women's Month. Also, I think you just had an interview about World Forestry Day with the Forestry Commission. So this is also a month where on 21st of March, I think they said, when we are supposed to remember the importance of forests to our ecosystem. So I feel like everything merges, and for me, it's a time of reflection. It's a time of me understanding what was laid before me and what's the mantle I'm supposed to carry. I was, for instance, last weekend thinking about this scary speech that was made by Marco Rubio, U.S. Secretary of State, at a Munich conference earlier this year, where he basically called for a return to what they call the golden age of Western civilization, which actually meant a return to colonialism. And we, Ghana, were one of the, I should say, the fulcrum points for rising anti-colonial forces at the time, right? So to hear the U.S. Secretary of State say that we should go back to the days of glory of colonization, meaning the conquering of our people, the destruction of our culture and history, and in this month of March, it was me thinking, what does that mean as a Ghanaian, you know, who is a child of descendants that fought for the liberation of African continents? What does it mean for us, and what it means we should do in these times, you know? So these are some of the things I was reflecting on, and I guess yeah, my way of being Ghanaian is to reflect on the issues now and what it means what it means that we should do in these times. Generally, I think I'm rambling, but you know what I mean.
People, freedom of speech. I keep telling my colleagues, freedom of speech is guaranteed. Freedom after speech is a whole other conversation. So you are free to think, to believe, to opine in any direction that you choose. But others also have the freedom to interrogate what you're saying, to agree or disagree with what you're saying. And there should be space at this very long table and even beyond for those conversations to happen. So if you find something problematic with what somebody said, well within your rights, and you're free to say it, and we are here to do it. He talked about a lot of other things, but those are your views, and I respect them. I was hoping that Nanama could actually join us. I'm getting the sense that she may not be able to do that, but we should still have a pretty swell day.
Sure.
And I want to remain a bit longer on Heritage Month and what it means for persons like you. We've introduced you Time Without Number as a culture curator. What does that mean in essence? And because it's Heritage Month, now there's an opportunity for us to send certain messages across. So when you're a culture curator, especially in a Heritage Month like the month of March, what does that mean?
I mean, a culture curator basically working in the space of culture and arts, being able to curate experiences that would elevate culture, that would discuss culture, that would interrogate culture. So I do it through the arts, largely organizing events, film screenings, concerts, writing comic books, book readings, and I've been involved in this for over 10 years. And for me, it's been very important to help create cultural spaces that reminds...
Join us, Titi. Join us. This is nice, and you know, getting the whole women vibe thing going. Settle down. Let's get some of your own perspectives on some of the matters that we'll be discussing. So Nanama, unfortunately, was not able to join us, and she won't be able to join us today. But Multi-Sider Sadiq, another strong female voice, recently attended the Muslim Women Impact session. And so I'll get to, I think, because International Women's Day is a topic that we'll be discussing, I would want to hear your perspectives, maybe from the viewpoint of the Muslim entrepreneur, the Muslim young woman, the Muslim voice. And we'll get to that shortly. But we are talking culture and heritage because it's still Heritage Month. And Akusha, she's big on culture. If I ask her to speak tree right now.
Make a tree. Make a tree.
Yeah, it is. So, culture curator and all the things you do. You're doing books written by African Ghanaian authors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's film festivals I help run. There are concerts. So basically creating different experiences using the arts that as Ghanaians, when you come to a specific thing, it helps you remind yourself of culture, remind you of identity, remind you of heritage. And culture is also not a static thing. This is something that is very important in my work. Culture is not static. Memory is not static. It's always evolving. As what we are doing today is creating the memory and culture of what's coming ahead of us tomorrow. So it's being able to weave all of these things presently, creating culture for the future, and also bringing what was there before. You know, that amalgamation. It's very, very exciting work. I will not lie to you. Meeting artists who do crazy things, wonderful things. The artists really hold, I don't know how to say it, but they really hold our culture. And arts is as simple as You see, even the Adinkra symbols that we talk, that is an artist, an original artist at the time who sat down to draw. You know, the Adinkra symbol started with the Adinkra Hene, which is the full round circle. That's how it started, and all the other symbols came from that. That's an artist's thinking, and that today for us is heritage, is culture. Every Adinkra symbol has a meaning. So for me, these type of things are exciting, and this month everyone is doing it, so it's wonderful.
It sounds like chilling in Kwan, Charlie. All you do is chill, no matter what.
Well,
but is it as easy as you say it? Being, the one that brings this innateness in us alive. Is it as easy as it seems?
Oh, no. I mean, a lot of it is, it's deep work, and also if I'm bringing it to physicality, the administration part of things is it kills me. Budgets, making sure this and that runs, the logistics, like that drains me. I will not lie to you. But sometimes when I'm really drained, flat on the ground, it's like when you see the way an artist, when they pick up a mic, lights go on, and then they move the crowd, and you see the way people are, in ecstasy. You then feel, okay, this was worth it. That annoying email, worth it. That, worth it.
Don't send an annoying email. Just say it. It might be worth it, but don't push it. Let's all do our job. Everybody, if yours is to carry the cup, carry the cup.
Yes.
And let's all just have a super swell time. Kitty, welcome to the table. When it comes to heritage, and this month we've been talking a lot about it, women are such, big custodians of culture, and you are a giant advocate of, culture from northern Ghana and the voices of women. Do you think that young people now are in touch with that side of, the weight that a woman carries in making sure the culture gets passed down to the next generation? Are the young people now in touch with that side?
Well, thank God. Thank you, T, and thank God for social media. Because if you didn't learn it in social studies or history, if you did that in senior high school, in a classroom, where else will you hear it from? Not everybody will have the privilege for their grandmother to sit them down and tell them, these are the women in your family or in your ancestry or in northern Ghana or in northern region, in Upper East, Upper West, who did this and that. But for social media, because people sometimes post, there are social media bloggers who would post something on maybe marriage, how a man sees a woman's place in a home. And then you have people pull in culture and say, oh, these people, they are those they are describing. That's how they are. But then you now have the voice of discernment who, as I say, if social media was lacking, probably is just in one corner, and so all the rest of us would not hear. But you have the person make a post and say, look, this is the Gundona, and there are female chiefs in northern Ghana or in northern region. And it's not the queens that we know, but a chief. So what is the role of a chief, male chief versus a female chief? It's the same. Yeah. So it means that
so she's not a queen mother.
No.
She's not like in Ga, we have like the queens and like the wife of the chief, and we also have the stool wives. We have all those things, but this is the, for lack of better, the monarch.
Yes.
Okay.
She who oversees administratively a town, a place. Decisions, she has elders who sit around her and they make all these decisions. And they are set in those stories. Wow. My father never told me, my grandmother hasn't told me, but it was on social media. I saw her with her staff, elderly looking. There are some who are educated and all of that. And the fact that they embrace it. Then there's the Zosem Lena. This is also a reserve for women mostly, and it's for expats and all of that. There are people who come into our community and they embrace the culture. There's one from, I think, Los Angeles or so. You see her on the horse, you see her in the smock, you see, and she also behaves like a chief because her Na is a chief and Napa is a queen. So she's also a female chief in her own right. And so she connects diaspora people who may have Northern Ghana at heart. We have an association of nurses, I believe, in Virginia and other places, who even came to see the Yana and what they are there for us to see. Unfortunately for social media, as I say, it doesn't just end in they've gone to the palace, they have greeted, or she's in her palace. We see the pictures on social media. And so there's no excuse for you to be looked down on, you to be allowing yourself to be told that you don't deserve a seat at the table in our culture. And this has been happening for decades. For centuries. So how did we miss? At what point did we miss where we thought women were only supposed to be pushed to the curb? And when you even look at contribution in a family, they'll tell you even that it is taboo what they are doing, but they are doing it. They are coming to look for money and food to go back and feed the family. So it means that cultural stereotype of women's place, it's not found anywhere. And hopefully, gradually, with technology and with archiving all of these things with technology, our children would not wake up in that warped world where they still hear these things. We still sit there and talk about gender, this and that. No. What you want, do you want to become this? You can go to school, you can come back and become a chief, a woman chief. And that's the unique perspective that digital penetration is helping with young people to stem down the stereotype sides and all of that. I just think that young people also need to be more confident, because if you're speaking from a place of confidence and information and you know where you are from, nobody be the one to tell you who you are. Right. What benefits of information does a person have than you who are from where you know you are from? So I believe that when young people arm themselves with, I don't know, I've been asking myself if the Gen Zs really care about culture as much as maybe the millennials and their parents, because it looks like maybe they do, but it's in a whole different perspective. Like the safe match day and the jerseys, you know?
We are witnessing a generation that is a full, almost exhausting burst of energy. And it gets exhausting even watching them, even witnessing their excitement and their full force. They approach everything with their 100, every they are coming at you. So that's why when you go viral, Charlie,
you are viral.
They are coming for you. And the energy that they have. And that's why I was asking, do you see this new generation, you know, passing on these things that some of us, and I'm not very old, I beg, some of us may have seen our parents, our grandparents hold so dear. Do we see this generation holding on to that, especially the females, because it's Women's Month. So the men are also part of the Women's Month because we gave birth to you. So when we say women,
all of us,
right? So don't worry about it. But do we see it? And we are talking about shaping culture. Do we see it in this generation?
Well, I think yes, but it's in other ways. It's in these current modern ways, right? So, for instance, there's a popular culture for every generation, and this is the popular culture of Africans and Ghanaian students and Ghanaian youth today. And this popular culture is in a time of social media, is in a time of AI, is in a time of streaming, and so it will not necessarily be the way it was handed down to you, but it will be in this time. So, for instance, given an example that I mean, all of us were watching and trending. I don't know if you were watching Aisha Speed's streaming tour of Africa. So, for instance, that is for the Gen Z their modern way of finding out about Africa, finding out about their cultures. You know, even
that people have internet, we have roads, there are high-rise buildings, and I found that shocking because I'm watching some of the streams and I'm seeing some of the comments. And I'm asking myself, do people seriously think that there are no roads in this part of the world? Do people seriously think that...
I know, but I'm not even worried about them. Mine is about the African youth who follow streamers now, because they are now also involved. And for African youth watching that stream, it was for us seeing other parts of Africa we normally don't see. You know, it's easier to go to Europe and America than to travel to other
Of
parts of Africa.
course, there's a direct flight to most cities in Europe, and
not within Africa.
Africa.
So see what this did to a Gen Z person who's never been to Namibia, who's never been to whatever, and now they're seeing what. And when he went, they were talking about different cultures, the spirituality, going to Benin, going to Togo, all of that, seeing that. So for them, this is their way. It won't be necessarily the way we had it handed over.
Gathering under the tree,
but yes, it's not that by the fireside. Me, even by the fireside, I didn't come to meet that type of sit under a tree type of thing. How I got that was digitally. I watched it on GTV. So I had the tree and there was all of that under the tree on TV. Yes. But back then, you were actually under the tree. So you see how it's involved? And now it's moved from TV to the
phone.
You see, absolutely. So it's evolution.
I love it. Now let's bring this to International Women's Day and the celebration. We saw several, press statements being issued congratulating women, acknowledging the contributions of women, and owning the fact that we've come a long way and empowerment has worked, and send your girl child to school does not mean and leave your boy child at home. And we've had those conversations. Like, does sending your girl child to school does not mean leave your boy child at home, and raising powerful women will not be as impactful if there are not equally powerful men who acknowledge, who see the sacrifices of women beyond what may be here on the table. I mean, Maltiti, we witness, and Akusha has seen it many times, because when we are getting ready, it's a circus.
Oh, goodness.
And Felix and Jay
just have a field day.
And all the men, they just walk into makeup and they're out there in 30 seconds.
How boring for them.
And they're out there in 30 seconds. And then there's us that they are trying to.
Oh, goodness.
Thomas brows have to be manufactured and put there because they don't exist in real life. And we see this, but this is how far we have come. International Women's Day coinciding with Heritage Month, it appears for some that it's another layer of pressure on the woman. How can we make these two sides, being the intentional international woman and being this borrowing Akusia's title, culture curator, Maltiti?
For me, I think that we're being grounded in your femininity. For us, usually, or maybe our social upbringing, well, we can look at roles as either stereotypical or something that, it comes naturally to us as well, whether we like it or not. Biologically, that will be more empathetic towards certain things. We're more likely to overlook certain things, where we may not be as aggressive over certain things as the other gender. But give to gain. I was saying that, don't we already give everything? We give a lot. And when I was relating it to the women I work with obstetric fistula, I said the fact that when you make the decision to have a baby, it's two people who make the decision, but it's one who at the end of the day bears the brunt and may end up with suffer the consequences. And so that is a lot of giving to gain for both of you who made the decision. So, and that aside, then those who are women powerhouses in their homes, who help fend for the family, who are the financial advisor to their husband, the ear that listens to the husband, that advises the children, who help them with homework and all, and has to be the corporate woman. When I was in that Light of Her Dean session with Haja Kubra Diamonds, put together by the Kubra Diamonds Foundation and Echo Green Oasis Legacy, one of the panel is a owner of a school. And she talked about how they discovered a child who was being sexually assaulted at home. And they didn't know until she was replicating it with another child in school. Yes. And so they did their investigations and they found out that her mom is a senior official, nursing official or something, and she leaves the child with some. By the time she leaves, the child is asleep. By the time she gets back, the child is asleep. And she said, look, as women, we cannot even afford to lose ourselves to one side because the other side may suffer. And everybody went quiet. And all of a sudden, in the next 30 minutes, there was unease because people wanted to leave. It had dawned on some of them that, you know what,
my child is at home. I got to go check on that
me.
baby.
And one said, it's true. I've realized that in the past weeks, my child has grown lean. I haven't seen her go to bed. I haven't seen her wake up. And then the member of parliament for Salaga South, who is on like 15 committees in parliament. Wow. Gender committee, foreign affairs committee, committee on fair something. She's been added to VRA now, a whole lot. Was talking about how she'll be practically begging her son, please don't go to bed, I'm on my way home. And in traffic on her way home, remembers that she's rather supposed to be at the Accra International Conference Center. Because in all of the rush, she tells her driver, let's go home. Go to Sakumono. And you remember that, no, you actually have to be in another engagement. But she's grateful for, and that's when the men conversation came up. The men who are the he for she's. Her husband, who is even a lecturer, has a lot of weight to carry, fends for their son when she's not around. So we cannot forget the support of the males in this conversation of celebrating International Women. What do we bring versus what the men complement with to make it all come together? And as Muslim women in that gathering, even talking about our own nuances, our own challenges, growing up in certain communities, either a very strict Islamic background where maybe you may be told that, don't do these kind of things as compared to because of the lack of understanding. And the conversations where from childhood you're thrust into the Islamic setting, go to Makaranta. And Makaranta is the Arabic school that you go to learn. But for some of the panel members, what they agreed on was that you go and you're studying the Arabic. It's like how we studied French in school and we didn't know if we liked it or not. All you're doing is studying the ABCD in Arabic, and you can read the text in Arabic, but innately you don't get it. Till even your teenage and formative years, you don't get it. So at a point in time, you even start revolting against it because you don't understand it. And so that understanding part is lacking. And taking consideration that you are a woman. So what do those rules and whatever say about you? How does it make you still be a woman? All of that is lacking. And parents don't really have time to sit down and say it. They'll just give you the straitjacket rule that, you know what, they say, don't do this. And you have to follow it. And you may feel that you're being stifled. Your potential is not being seen. So all of those conversations came up. And luckily, what we also agreed on is that a lot of women have broken those barriers, and there are examples everywhere now for us to see. Our own Shamima Muslim is one.
Facts.
Where did Shamima come from, rise from? And today she is who she is. Yes. And so the examples are there, the excuses are not there. Parents are coming, to the conversation.
I feel privileged that I grew up in an era where communal living and the communal way of raising children was the way to go, because if my mom was not going to be there, somebody would be in that compound house. And the walls were not as high as they were now. The gate was constantly open, and you could walk in and out, climb trees, fall down, get hurt, get sent to hospital, get treated, brought back home before your mother even showed up. So that is lost. But like Akosia said, I find that, very poignant, the point you made, that in a new way, these things are being passed on. Ladies, thank you. This was supposed to be like an International Women's Day. Let's touch on International Women's Day quickly and let's move on to other topics. But it's proven to be, quite thought-provoking, and I wish we could go on and on. But there are other big stories in the news. Women are a key part of every big story. But the minority has been on a roll for a while with regards to the ongoing recruitment into the security services. Yesterday, we heard once again the minority side in Parliament talking about what they call a scam system where 506,000 plus applications are received from teeming scores of hopeful Ghanaian young people who were desirous of joining the police service, the army, all the security services, the fire service,
immigration,
the prison service, and all that. And the Interior Minister comes to say there's space for 5,000. So the minority asked a question. If you know, if you knew, if you were aware that there was space for only 1 out of 100 applicants, why did you allow those numbers to apply? So a number of questions have been raised. Ladies, I want to pick your thoughts on this because youth unemployment is a big deal. And one of the key campaign promises of the current administration was to make sure that it made jobs available, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector, setting up businesses and whatnot. I'm sure you followed this story. What are your initial thoughts about the whole recruitment exercise and the conversations that have followed until now?
I think it's very unfortunate. I think the very first part of the story that was trending was when there was I think there were some accidents. Some people got hurt because of the mass numbers of people died.
Yeah.
Wow.
Women.
Wow.
Yeah. Some people died.
About 6 or so.
That is
died.
crazy. That is crazy.
It was
that people had to die.
Can we call it a
applying
near
for a job.
stampede? It was a stampede.
It was a stampede.
Yes.
Yes, it was a
Because
stampede.
thousands of people gathered at the
Yeah,
Elwak
it was a
Stadium,
stampede.
and people tried to get over the wall. People broke in through the gates and just rushed in.
Terrible.
So lives were lost
Terrible.
in the even application process.
Yeah, I mean, that's sad. You go and apply for a job and you die. That's sad, right? So I mean, even from there already was an issue. And seeing this is unfortunate that only 5,000 jobs and this number of people applied. And I also found out that they paid application fees.
200 cities.
So 200 cities, you pay application
Times
fees.
506,000 plus.
My math is terrible, but that sounds a lot.
113 million Ghana cedis is what some people have computed.
So in all of this, all these people paid. 5,000 people who are selected, their money at least will be worth it. What happens to the monies for the rest?
And that's why the minority in Parliament yesterday, the ranking member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee and also MP for Ascent, all that monies, and they called it, the minority is calling it a financial exploitation of the young unemployed Ghanaian, because bringing you up to speed, over 500,000 people applied, 200 Ghana cedis paid as application fee. Most of the applicants were not shortlisted, and many failed to progress. Even the aptitude test that they wrote has come under scrutiny.
Okay.
And the Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin says we shouldn't use AI to set questions for people to join the army. And there's a lot of conversation.
Wait, they used AI to set the questions for people to join the army?
I don't know, but I think I saw that
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the army has been in existence since, so they should have already a system of how
Absolutely.
to screen the best people for the jobs.
Yeah.
You know? That's...
Titi, should they just give them their money?
They should give people their money, I think so. Because, I mean, so what happens? They'll apply again, because they will apply again this year. If this was the last year, and there'll be, the portal will be open again this year. Every year you're taking 5,000. So imagine if you're, putting the money together is over 1 million. This year again, the same people are going to lose that 1 million again. I don't think it is fair to the Ghanaian youth. Already they don't have jobs. So probably people borrowed, people went for quick loans, people's
The government
family.
says the fees are standard, and that most application fees are normal in a recruitment process.
We know.
So the argument is they have not done anything.
So this scam has been going on for long. That's what practically.
Oh, you
they're
also
saying.
think it's a scam?
Because what will we call it? So it's been happening in every dispensation of every government from time immemorial that people go, and it's not every time the stampede happens. I think it's happened in the past, but not this magnitude. And it's not far-fetched to find the data on how many youth are unemployed in this country. If this government campaigned on the back of youth unemployment, they have the data. They have their strong rooms that they were calculating all these things, so they know. And these are the most immediate jobs that you are likely to get put into. Because for the others, government agencies and ministries, we know that is a tall list or is a tall task. The protocol, people allege protocol placements and all of that. So I'm saying that if this is the one where every Ghanaian who feels they meet the criteria. Before you get to aptitude tests, before you get to medicals and all that screening, you have the height, you have the age, you can communicate, you tick all the boxes.
And emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. You tick all the boxes and then you go there and then you are cheated. I think that their money should be returned to them. That's what I think.
Akosia, should government charge application fees for recruitment into essentially public service?
Generally, I don't even believe in application fees. I think it's a bigger scam.
Some say it prevents frivolous applications.
Yes, so I see.
If you are not serious, because it's free, everybody. So it has to cost you something.
Yeah, so it's like the first line of defense against that. I feel like maybe what we should do is let's be creative and find other ways of first line defense and screening into who you put into positions. I don't believe in application fees for public service, for going to school, especially applying to schools, having to pay an application fee and then you don't get it and you apply every year. For me, that's the biggest scam. My goodness, biggest scam for me. It's very unfair. But I get the argument about it being, the first level of screening. But I think we're in 2026. We can try and find other ways of screening, instead of because the economy is hard. I know things have improved, but then youth employment is still high. Raising that money you just mentioned, someone would have to borrow that 200. Yes. That 200 is even someone's salary.
Yeah, and it's gone. And it's gone. How about online? How about filling the form online? You'd have to probably go to an internet cafe and pay to get your space and your data, or if you're using your phone, use it, and then. That prevents all of the other 500,000 people who have applied.
So when you were mentioning 500,000 and mentioning all the things that they would screen for, I was wondering, especially entering the army, how would you use an aptitude test, for instance, an AI test, I guess you said, to screen for emotional intelligence? Because I feel like for me, anyone entering the army, the problems that we want to alleviate is people who are emotionally intelligent and not to recreate that macho bravado violence kind of, How do you screen for that, for instance?
I don't know because I don't. Is it substantiated? The AI, maybe the army will come out and.
So there's a story even on GBC News Online about the Minority Leader, Honorable Afenyo Markin, talking about this. And if you go onto our website, www.gbcghanaonline.com, you'll find the story, Scrap AI Aptitude Test for Security Recruitment. The Minority Leader in Parliament calling on the government to scrap the use of artificial intelligence-based aptitude tests in the ongoing recruitment into Ghana's security services. According to him, several applicants have complained about difficulties with the online testing system, which has led to many of them being disqualified during the recruitment process. And the reference is on the floor of Parliament, happenings on the floor of Parliament on Tuesday, March 10. Mr. Afenyo Markin said the current system makes it difficult for applicants who have limited knowledge of information technology to take part in the recruitment. He suggested that the authorities should allow applicants to write the aptitude test manually, similar to what was previously done by the military. There are quotes there referencing what the Minority Leader said. He said that many applicants from rural communities struggle to navigate the online testing platform. And he said it is unfair to expect people from communities such as Posiga, Bunkpulungu, who may have little knowledge of digital technology, to take the test using artificial intelligence system. He says that he's all for AI, all for IT, but we cannot suddenly call somebody who has limited knowledge in IT or limited IT knowledge to be a part of that. And so he says that we shouldn't politicize it. We should just meet people where they're at.
And AI, not to trash it, AI should be able to enhance things. We're at the time of AI. Honestly, we can't be here fighting it. You should use it to enhance and improve things. But this raises a really strong argument about the gap. Being able to bridge
the
that
IT gap.
Digital literacy
gap. Yes, it does raise a big challenge.
I will commend this administration, though, for decentralizing it. Because imagine they all had to come to Accra. or
Wow,
Kumasi. Yes, or I think they usually would do 3 cities to cover the south, the middle belt, and the northern belt. So maybe we would have had west, but this time our correspondents were able to bring us. I remember seeing Bolga, you know, they gathered at the regional capital of the Upper East region in Tamale and all of that. So the pressure was a bit down. But this is the capital and it's populated. So definitely, unfortunately, we saw those lives lost. But I say again, if, as Akosia mentioned, is the first layer of test that is, okay, so pay because it will streamline how many people, and it's not 1 million people applying. You still go through other layers of the test.
Exactly, because
how about get to the 5,000 mark and tell them pay before you continue? I will pay.
Sense.
Yes, I will pay before
That makes
continuing.
sense.
one, I mean, apart from the cost, the charging application fees, one other thing has come up, another suggestion, that even with the 500,000 plus applicants who have applied, only 105,000 have progressed to medical screening. So there's still 100,000 that will not make it because Minister says 5,000. So should we cap, if you know you're looking for 5,000 people, should we cap that, the number of applications being brought in at a certain number?
Yes, maybe 10,000. Don't know.
Or they should have an expanded recruitment services to deal with the numbers, and then therefore have an expanded number of jobs available, you know, so that you can screen as many people as you can every year. Maybe that's also another option.
The finance ministry will tell you that the budget probably will not be able to cater for that because the quotas. So, you know, it's a whole conundrum of issues.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So application fees, capping the numbers are some of the conversations that are being had. And everyone has had something to say about that. So perhaps in the coming days, people will offer more suggestions about how we can go about this. But I have some more questions that I want to put to the two of you. If we are making the calculation, we are talking about 5,000 vacancies. We are talking about 506,618 people who applied, who all paid 200 Ghana cedis. The suggestion, the estimates out there are that depending on which service, the number of people applying could be very different. So some of the services are more popular than others. So the police service would get a higher number. Some suggest that the Ghana Immigration Service would quickly follow the fire service before even the prison service. And then when it comes to the armed forces, another slew of estimates are being thrown there. So this is competition basically, and the onus rests on the applicant to qualify. But this is where I want to ask you, whom you know. Because, Matiti, you mentioned quotas. People, let's not shy away from the fact that people will come with protocol lists.
Absolutely.
And people will call their MPs, and people will call their uncles who know Akosia is on TV. And maybe Akosia knows that Shamima is at the presidency. What's the role of knowing somebody in this entire recruitment process, and how does it affect the trust of regular Ghanaians who don't know anybody and have access to these people? Matiti, do you want to start?
For me, I don't think this is going anywhere until we entirely, collectively, wholesomely, or if there's a word like that, on all fronts, tackle youth unemployment. Once there's that huge gap of youth unemployment, protocol, you know who knows you, will be difficult for us to eliminate. Because if there are jobs in abundance and you qualify, you go there and then you do it. But once the jobs are few and the people are chasing the few, the numbers are huge chasing, of course there's going to be a big man or big
with these
woman.
numbers, I've said it, that of every 100 people who have applied, only one will be employed. That's the breakdown. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Wow.
100 people apply, only one will get it. 1%.
And somebody's uncle, as you mentioned, is a big man. Somebody's mother, somebody's family, somebody campaigned for somebody, and all of that. So, and they promised jobs. People who campaigned, MPs, oh, don't worry, the agencies will get it. And as I mentioned, those ones are like Shaw Banker.
Yeah.
You know, it's the others that, you know, when they open, you see it in the daily graphic, Forestry Commission is employing this. But for the services, every year they recruit. And it's something that is easy for you to go in. As far as you've taken all the percentages, there's a sound mind, as Akosia has said, emotional intelligence, you have the height, you can speak, you can, everything, you qualify. So you just need that phone call. And you get to beat Ajwa, who doesn't have the phone call. But she probably even has a better, something, an edge over you. That's what it is, plainly.
Akosia? Yeah. Do you think there can be a firm guarantee that there will not be interference, whether political, traditional, religious financial, and all that interference in the recruitment process? Can that guarantee be established?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Just because of how, I mean, our society has been established for a while. It's always, it largely gets to who you know. Do you know this person here? And I mean, even at one time I was talking to an Uber driver. He was telling me he has an uncle in this, and they already were trying to get papers for him so that he can go into police service. This is, you know, it's an everyday thing. But like what you're saying, the real crux of the problem is solving youth unemployment. Such that we do not have to deal with issues of what we'll call, this is what, nepotism and all of that. And so looking at diversifying what that will look like, I'm proud that these numbers of people want to serve their nation and will go and, you know, apply for these jobs. But then also...
Want to, I
like to believe that they want to serve their nation.
Want to make a living. Want to serve their country whilst guaranteeing a dignified livelihood from the process.
I love
that. Like all of us.
I love that.
We want to serve you breakfast every morning, but we are also not here out of thin air.
Yes,
and it's exactly what other people want to do.
Exactly. But we can look at diversifying. There's other ways, and I'm always saying this, if we did put so much strength and financial backing and support into the arts and culture can open up so many jobs. It can open up jobs in entrepreneurship. It can open up jobs in curation. It can open up jobs so many opportunities, right? If we also and use their skills and grow their skills, you know, technical university, sewing, engineering, carpentry, sculpturing. I mean, I don't see why these are also not as important, but it's because we don't see that as and we wouldn't have a lot of these problems. These numbers reduce because maybe this person who is going to apply for a security job is actually a very good sculptor, and now is probably having their work being shown at the Biennale in Paris or something, you know, and getting $1 million for one piece of art that you put up. Like, would they need to? You know, so I
Sign me up.
Yeah, definitely. There are opportunities that the arts and culture can provide, and now it's becoming a $1 billion industry in the world. So, yeah.
I think that when Akosia says that, so it means that we need inspiration, we need exposure for people to believe, because it all starts from home. That when you get to a certain age, you are looked up to bring something. And so when you weigh the options, culture and this and sculpting and this versus something that will come in every month, you jump for that one, whether you have to be a foot soldier and run around and do political activism. That's what they'll tell you. Even among us as youth, we tell each other that, Charlie, politics is a fast way to money.
Exactly, which is sad.
We tell ourselves that because the other avenues seem so far away. Somebody says, oh, but Akosia, you know, she's
when will I learn to sculpt and get $1 million?
Exactly.
Oh, you can.
And the ecosystem, who is going to hold my hand to lead me to who will be... Because somebody's like Ibrahim Mahama, he's built that art center. Probably brilliant, talented. How is he going to meet Ibrahim Mahama? Or probably Ibrahim Mahama comes from a privileged home, and so his parents saw that if they support him, whether money will come out of it one day or not, he will make something out of his life. And today, boom, look at him. Do you see? So,
and I think his story, if I'm correct, his story started with, I think, one work of art that he sold for a huge, I think, $1 million.
Yes.
And he decided to bring that
back.
And
sometimes even just one of that can change the trajectory of someone's life. And arts creating, crafting. Hey, Ghanaians, we have it just like that. You don't
But
have
we
to be in a
don't-
rich,
yeah, the
I don't know
rich
if
country.
this-
Go on the street, see the people who do
do
those
it.
sketches.
People do it,
and
nails and all of
Yes. Even nail artists
Yeah.
are artists. You know what I'm saying? It's
Listen,
like,
I recently met a nail artist. So all kinds of things have come up now.
Yeah.
And I'm always shocked when I go to the nail salon. I hardly ever wear nails.
Innovation.
When I say, Thelma, can you go and do your nails? Mommy,
Mommy.
not true. Because people are doing some
Yes.
incredible creative stuff. But even in the security services, people are employed to do creative.
Yes,
So
that
people
as
are employed
well.
to be in the band.
Mason.
yes,
People
exactly.
are employed
Our
to
bands are
do
good.
other things.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched any of the security agencies' bands play,
Yeah.
so they are
Solid.
taking
They are
trumpeters,
solid.
they are
Yeah.
taking
Solid.
drummers,
Solid.
and
Yeah, they're brass bands.
that's
Solid.
also creative.
Yeah.
I mean, secondary schools used to
Yeah.
bring people to play football, to be athletes. They are
Yes.
doing javelin
Yes.
shot puts and,
Yes.
and all that. So
Yes.
there's always room everywhere for a creative.
Yeah.
And I think that's the agenda that we want to drive. So another one, interesting conversation. Here's something that I've cited on one of our networks from the NPA, though, talking about a new minimum price floor for petroleum products for the second pricing window of March, effective March 16 to March 31. So in case you haven't seen that story, under the revised price floor, petrol has increased from 10.46 Ghana cedis to 11.57 Ghana cedis per litre. Diesel has also seen a significant adjustment, rising from 11.42 Ghana cedis to 14.35 Ghana cedis per litre. I'm reading, this is from MyJoy Online. The industry observers say this could be one of the sharpest movements in the price floor for a single product in recent times. LPG has also been adjusted upward to 10.67 Ghana cedis per kilogram from 9.38 Ghana cedis previously. And the report is citing a notice to oil marketing companies with the NP and just, do that. It said that the prices quoted excluded premiums charged by international oil trading companies as well as operating margins for bulk, import, distribution, and export companies, and they will be independently determined by the companies as pertains to the PPG. So it means that no oil marketing company or LPG marketing company will be permitted to sell below the approved price floor during the period. So between the 16th to the 31st of March. And so this is us. We've come from last week and the early part of this week from talking about the implications of the Middle East tensions and what it means for our pockets when it comes to palm prices. And now we are hearing that the NPA is adjusting. I've heard firm assurances that we have some cover for the next few weeks. So I don't quite understand where these increases are coming from, but perhaps the NPA will have the opportunity in the coming days to explain it to us. But for now, palm prices have gone up. The directive is to increase the prices. How does that affect you?
I was kind of expecting it, with, I don't know how much of an impact what's happening
At the
in
Strait of
Iran
Hormuz.
Of the fuel supply is transported through that strait.
So that's straight.
20%.
So now that Iran is
Saying they've
disrupting,
blocked it,
they've
yes.
blocked it. This is going to cause. So you see why, honestly, this whole world is so interconnected, right? So you see why it's really important to care what's happening in Iceland, what's happening here, even here, our lagoons, forests. There are ecosystems that support systems across the world.
Absolutely.
So if a country would encourage a foreign policy of war, we need to care, because this is how all the way here, I don't have the money that people are earning in America. I earn in cities. You're now telling me you've increased the floor because of something that people are doing, and it's so unfair. So we need to care. Yes. So the ripple effect. So which is why we need to care about the type of leaders we put into place. We need to care about women's rights in other places in the world. We need to care about, and also make our voices and also put our foot down. Charlie, I don't have anything to say, but these ripple effects are very important. You know, who the president is in another country affects us because we are supposedly in this
global village.
You know, and we have international treaties and things we are supposed to live by. You know, I don't support the regime that was in Iran before, especially because of, you know, the deaths, the protests, the killings, and women's rights and what has been done to women's rights. But I also do not support the invasion of people's countries based on what someone believes they are the world's savior. You know, how can you be when you yourself are in this, you know? Anyway, let me not digress.
Okay. So,
I mean,
Akosia wants to, is tempted to park her car this weekend. Those of us who don't have the benefits of being we are passenger princesses. We sit on the passenger side. We will also be affected
Yes, of
because
course.
you have other means of transport, even if you don't own a car.
The fares will increase.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in the world. And when Akosia talked about treaties and all of that, and you go back to the genesis of why is all of this starting? That this country says that this one shouldn't have nuclear weapons
All
or
of this
nuclear, all of those things. They said, okay, they've signed on to treaties that hold them accountable not to use it.
Yeah.
Others haven't, but you've not even said anything about. You cannot.
Yeah, you say anything about them. But then
you
see
so
that
the whole
You people
thing
think
doesn't-
about what campaign
the
of my eyes.
double-
Yes,
the
and
double
people
nuclear war.
and people say that. Also, we have to be careful about what we see in the media from the West, because if you are not with a people to feel, it's like you know, some part of Ghana saying, "Oh, this is what is happening," but what is the outlook, the general outlook in Ghana, and you base it on that, and then you decide to. It is the children who are dying.
Yes.
The
How many
girls,
girls in the school? 175
died.
children died in the school that was bombed.
Look at the Gaza.
By a tomahawk.
Yes. I saw a baby's foot. I was livid.
Wow.
Look at the children who have died in Gaza. And I'm asking, is Gaza now even okay? Is it okay? It's been to dust. Experts will say Iraq, Libya, and all of these countries. So when our international leaders go and sit at a table, what conversations do they have? You're hearing the UN Secretary General saying, look, this war crime, this and this is not right.
Yeah.
We have a conscience. We are people that are also centered by God. In our national pledges, anthems, all those creeds and things, we keep mentioning the big man's name, the maker, the one who can snap, and then everything turns to dust. But as humans, then we have so much power. How do we use that power to be able to smite vulnerable groups? So I don't know. I'm thinking as like a whole facade.
Yeah.
This whole peace, international collaboration, and honestly.
And I think it really started in the West. First of all, why would you even develop a nuclear weapon? Think about it. Africans and how long our
Because at the
history
back
is in
of
this
your
world.
mind, you always think somebody will come and attack me or
but
attack the person
to develop
first.
a nuclear weapon and the damage it can do, such that we are, even though we're not using the nuclear weapon, the world is always at loggerheads. Cold War, all of what's happening today is just because of don't develop nuclear. I'll develop, don't. But why should we even have developed it in the first place? Why did World War II have to happen in the first place?
Absolutely.
We Africans did nothing.
But there is a use for nuclear energy.
What?
There is use for nuclear energy.
But
So
not
not
nuclear
all
weapons.
nuclear
Then
stuff
not
is
nuclear
bad. So
weapons,
the
yes.
weapons, yes. But
mass
energy,
killing that after years, people still get cancers. And how would you even think to develop? Like, how cruel? You had your guns already, you had your swords, and then even if the thought, sometimes some devious thoughts can come to your mind. Does that mean you go through with it? You think of the consequences. What would it mean if I develop this? I think they even did a film about the man who created it, Oppenheimer. There's a film, I think it won Oscars last year, about the one who created it. He himself had a whole lot of mental, trauma, and thinking about what has been created and what's now in the world.
And I've always said that don't start what you cannot finish.
Exactly.
Because this morning on BBC, I heard that a bus driver, he's Lebanese. The ripple effect of this on Lebanon, he drove into a Jewish synagogue. You see, people are doing their whatever. Then Because you're going to create a terrorist that you keep telling the world people are. Because somebody's threshold of pain, and I hear he's lost his entire family.
The bus driver.
Yes.
So he used that pain to go
And somebody like that doesn't care about that, you know.
So when we talk about two wrongs stop making a right, well, let's drink some water. Drink some awake water. Let's take a quick break. When we return,
you've taken all my fasting saliva. Which water will I drink?
Please, just try and swallow. We'll take a quick break. Nana Ma has managed to fly from. Drones have brought her into the studio, so she'll be joining us pretty shortly. So let's just spin around. We'll be back.